All right, so we are going to talk about the fact that there is no magic bullet today. So this is a big perception that you have to kind of get through your head if you want to get healthy. And really, this kind of covers a lot of areas of life, not just your health or wellness.
Right.
Yeah, so this is our Take Your Health Back Now podcast for February 16th. If you're watching the replay, remember that we are doing this live in our Facebook group. So if you want to, interact with us while we're recording or anything like that, make sure you join that group and jump on Fridays around 1 Central. All right, so we're gonna just kind of put it out there. No sugarcoating it this week. Not that we usually do.
We never do. That's so true. Yeah, no, so we keep talking about the health space is really loud right
Yeah.
now. Also, the health, you know, yeah, I guess we could just call it the health space, but there's so many people now giving their opinion on health, and so much that's kind of what we call the magic bullet.
Right.
Uh, So we just want to say there is no magic bullet if you truly want to resolve your health issues and turn your health around and then maintain your health.
Yeah.
Like there isn't. There's not one.
No, and we were just, and this is not just like natural health or foundational health or what we would consider wellness. This is just healthcare in general. I mean, we were just talking the other day about how much advertising there is across media, radio, even like if you're in YouTube and those channels and ads pop up, just TV, the Super Bowl commercials, just how
Right.
often you are just inundated with, take this pill, call this number, and we'll give you the magic recipe to lose weight or look beautiful or get rid of all your symptoms. Like there's so
Right.
much. You have to really keep in mind that these are not solutions. They're really just band-aids. If it was a real solution, you would only have to do it, if it's a pill, you would only have to take it once, right? And it would cure everything. You wouldn't have to stay on it long term because it would be resolving what's wrong.
Right.
So if you think about pharmaceuticals, if the plan is to keep you on that prescription for life, just keep that down the road and keep increasing your dose, then how could it possibly be resolving anything? It can't
Right.
be. It's
So
still
a
going
good
to end up.
example, right? So let's start with pharma. So a good example of that, something that we deal with, with what we do is Humira. That's a good example. So people that have severe GI issues, a lot of times Crohn's, you can turn that around. I mean, you can because we've seen it
Yeah.
clinic many times. You can turn it around, but you have to decide you want it to turn around, and then you have to do the steps it takes to turn it around and resolve it and then maintain it so that it doesn't come back. So you can do that. But the conventional medical model is there is no cure for that. And you're going to have to get on Humira, something like Humira, for the rest of your life. But what Humira is a immune suppressant. So what that does is turn off your immune system at your immune system. There's many different parts of your immune system, different
Yeah.
parts of your body, but it turns off your immune system at that GI level so that it doesn't react, doesn't have an autoimmune reaction
Right.
because it is turned off.
And it's not like most prescription medications, the people making them and the people prescribing them, they don't really know how it works. They don't know that precise interaction. Like you would
Right.
think like, oh, it's Humira is for Crohn's. So how exactly does it stop it? If you ask people that, they're like, we're not sure the exact interaction. We just know that we suppress your immune system and then symptoms tend to go away most of the time. Like that's legitimately all they have to say to get a drug approved. Uh,
Right.
and it's not precise. Like it's not just turning off your immune response for that symptom, it's
Right.
turning off your immune system, which is why they, in the little tiny writing or the words at the end, it's always, let your doctor know if you have traveled or if you've recently had this or if you have a compromised immune system and you're more likely to get really sick and die because you have no immune system.
Right. Because your immune system, I mean, think about what your immune system is. It is you want a robust immune system.
Yeah.
Your system is your first line of defense for anything that comes in. That's what keeps you from getting really sick if you come in contact with a virus or an infection or something like that. But if your immune system is essentially turned off, suppressed, so that you don't have those Crohn's symptoms, what are you going to do if something else comes in?
Right.
You have no first line of defense. And a drug like that, and there's many drugs like that are immune suppressants, but a drug like that, okay, so Crohn's is awful. You're constantly having diarrhea, you have blood, it's terrible, pain, awful. So it does help with that symptom, but what is causing you to have all of those Crohn's symptoms is still festering and growing underneath.
Right.
It's still getting worse and worse and worse because you have not addressed what caused it in the first place. So something else is then going to come up and you don't have that immune system response to fight it off.
Right.
They do tell you, I think Jenny just mentioned that this is a lifetime. You have to stay on this for a lifetime, because if you come off of it, you actually have much worse symptoms coming off of it than you had when you first went on it. And we're just picking on this one particular drug. There are many pharmaceuticals like that.
Yeah, this is the probably most common type of pharmaceutical. Like most of them are immune suppressors and most of them are long-term. They're just covering up symptoms. You have to increase dosage. It turns something off internally that then is not there if you come off the drug. So at least beforehand, your body was trying to fight it, and now your body doesn't have any way to fight it if you stop taking that drug. Right. And the side effects for these medications, not just the, being immune compromised, but the actual things it causes are awful. Like, they're almost as bad as the symptoms you're trying to get rid of. They're just different.
Mm-hmm. And it says right there on the packaging, if anybody took the time to actually read it. Another one along that lines is that new, I totally just forgot what it is. You know what it is.
The omeprazole
shots. Yes.
Yeah, they're all the same type of drug. I forget what it's called, like GD2. They've got a category. So it's like Wegovy and omeprazole and all these drugs that were initially created. Almost all of them were diabetes, I believe. But they work so well just for general weight loss that they're getting, some of them have now been created for that particularly, and some are being used, like off label. And it makes it really easy. Like you're struggling with weight loss, people like famous people like Oprah, who has struggled with that very publicly for a very long time, are now taking this and saying it's magic. I didn't have to try at all.
I didn't have to change anything.
Yeah.
But what it does is paralyzes your digestive system, and you can't come off of it. Again, it's a lifetime thing. Yeah. And what happens is your digestive system is not working properly. And the reason you were holding on to weight in the first place has also not been resolved. But then your body starts pulling. I mean, your body needs to keep you alive, right? So it starts pulling protein from your muscles. It starts pulling minerals from your teeth and from your bones, because it's not able to absorb it through your digestive system, because your digestive system is now essentially paralyzed from this drug. And it is not even approved for weight loss. It was for diabetes, which also can completely be turned around.
Yeah, like these are all lifestyle.
Intermittent diet.
Yeah. And it's just one of those things that, you know, if you struggled with something for a really long time and you've tried a lot of different things, then there's obviously a piece of the puzzle that you're missing. And that is usually because you're only focusing on one thing. And you're nothing, there is not a single system in your body that works all by itself, like none. Yeah, they are all interconnected. In order for everything to work optimally, everything has to be optimized. Like you can't just look at one system and think that overall health is going to happen. So that's kind of like that magic bullet. Like you can't take a weight loss magic bullet. You can't take like a, you know, skin magic bullet. You have to really get everything in balance and change your lifestyle. And then those things will be fixed. It'll be like magic. But it's
Right.
not just one thing. It is really lifestyle, and it is, you know, you have to look at everything across the board. It has to be balanced.
A holistic approach. That's what we
Yes.
always say. Whole. I mean, yes, your body is a whole system. It's not individual systems. Like we have a specialist for this, specialist for this, specialist for this. No, they're all interconnected, like Jenny said. We had somebody come in one time that had I think they had ulcerative colitis. It wasn't Crohn's. And he was slated to have surgery, and they were going to remove a huge part of his colon. And we told him that we could help him, but he would have to make some lifestyle changes.
Right.
So he opted, and this was a young man, like 24 years old. He opted to do the quick fix of the surgery, have that colon removed, where he's going to have to wear a bag for the rest of his life. I mean, imagine how that would affect your life.
Yeah.
I mean, he was young. He didn't even have a wife or a family or a career yet, whatever. But he chose that because he didn't think he could. His reasoning was he didn't think he could give up fried chicken. So therefore, that major surgery that affected his entire life for the
Right.
rest of his life was his quick fix rather than making the changes necessary.
Right. And
Uh,
that's, you know, that's his choice. At least he had the information. At least he knew what the options were. For most people, they're not even aware. Like they're just told this surgery is the option. This is the only thing you can do.
right.
So, you know, well, that's really disappointing when people make those choices and you want to just kind of like shake them. Like, do you know how awful that's going to be? Like, it's going to be way worse than not eating fried chicken. And if you did this thing in a couple years, you could probably occasionally taste fried chicken. Like, just don't sustain yourself with it. Um, it's just crazy that in the moment they think that's easier, but it's not going to be.
No, not long term. And that's the thing. People want a quick fix now. So we're talking about pharmaceuticals, but supplements are the same way. So there's so many people that, well, first of all, people think that they have to have tests for everything to tell them what's wrong. So people are realizing that they're deficient in so many different things. So then they take a supplement or a mini supplements because they're deficient in those things. But what about what caused you to be deficient in the first place?
Right.
If you don't fix what caused you to be deficient, that supplement is just supplementing the problem. And again, same thing, whatever is causing these deficiencies and probably many other things going on in your body is still festering and growing. And you're going to have more and more and more issues pop up unless you really dig deep and fix that root cause.
Supplements are not a long-term solution. They should be used to support and supplement a program or a plan that you've got going on to create that foundational wellness. So, you know, if your body is in this extreme state of dysfunction, it probably needs a little bit of support to get it to a place where it can be healthy. So that makes sense. Short term, supplement, support, take some of that, you know, weight off of your
Addition
body,
to,
and then get it to the point, you know, if you're deficient in B vitamin, which is super common, you can supplement with that while you're healing, but then you should be able to naturally get and digest and process enough B vitamin to be healthy. And, you know, we're
B
not
vitamin.
saying
Oh, go ahead.
never ever use supplements. You know, maybe you have, you know, some stressors, or you had something come up, or maybe we're in Illinois and they've blocked out the sun for 6 months. So you feel like you need a little bit more vitamin D. Like, that's fine. We understand that. But just, it's the idea that, wow, I took this test and it says I have low B vitamins. So now I'm going to supplement, and that's your complete solution. Like, that doesn't solve anything.
Right. And the majority of your B vitamins are actually made in your gut. So if you are healthy, your gut health is healthy, you are making the majority of those B vitamins. The reason you're deficient is because you have dysfunction in your gut. There are a few B vitamins that we get from our food. And if you're deficient in those, it's because you're not able to absorb them or metabolize them, which also comes down to gut health. So, you know, taking that, I know someone that takes a B shot, B vitamin shot, like once every few weeks, and has been for years, but has never looked into actually healing their gut,
Right.
making their own B vitamins. And same with D, like Jenny just said. Yes, it has been cloudy and dark here for quite some time. So yeah, a little supplement, but also you need to make sure it's a good sourcing, and it's not synthetic or that SynBio that we talked about in our last podcast. But as soon as the sun comes out, you make the majority, your body makes your vitamin D by this connection we have with the sun. So just get outside and make your own vitamin D.
Right.
The other thing with, you know, there's a lot of like, there's so many people that have thyroid problems now, or, you know, whatever that may be with the thyroid, or hormone deficiencies or imbalances. So people will take a thyroid drug, or they think they're taking the natural replacement of that. First of all, the natural replacement comes from a deceased pig that came from conventional farming. So that pig was extremely unhealthy.
And it's not even conventional farming. It's like pharmaceutical bred farming, which is even worse.
Right. So if you think about this is kind of off topic, but if you think about this, the pig is one of the most intelligent animals, actually. So you have a very intelligent animal with feelings that's bred in these pharmaceutical farming, which I can't even imagine how awful that is, and stressful. They're sick, you know, they're not bred to be healthy or happy.
No.
So they are sick. So their hormones are running rampant, completely out of balance. And then they're taking their thyroid hormone, and then that's what they're giving to you. And actually, I think now they're switching that over to that SynBio that we
I was going to say that. I think that that's
Yeah.
going to be that, because you hear all of the bio this and bio that.
Right. But that protein that they have now done the Judson, if you haven't listened to our last podcast, go back and listen to it. Anyway, but they took that from a very unhealthy, very stressed animal to begin with. So whatever you're taking, and I get if your thyroid is not working properly and that makes you feel better, but you can turn that around. We work with so many people with thyroid problems, and if you do the right steps, the right foundational work, you can turn that around and start producing your own. And then the other thing to think about, anytime you're using something like a hormone replacement, you know, your body's like, well, I don't have to make that anymore.
Right. It's
at this replacement. So it takes a long time once you get off for your body to go, oh, wait, I need to start producing this again. So the more you take something like that, or Even bioidentical hormones, those are also that's in biology, even though it's the natural choice. Your body just doesn't have to work.
Yeah, your
Basically.
body is very adaptable. And if you are experiencing symptoms, it's already kind of overworked. You know this from everything we've told you. If this is your first time listening, go back and listen. If you're having symptoms, your body is overworked, it's overburdened. So all of a sudden, it's getting what it's trying to create from an outside source. It's just going to let that happen. Oh, we're outsourcing that. Okay, now I can take my efforts and put it somewhere else because there's so much going on. You know,
Right.
and your body is really adaptable in that way, and it can sustain you in states of dysfunction for a really long time, but it has to pick and choose. You know, that's why you have hair loss, because it says, well, that was nice, but we don't need it to be alive. Let's let go of that. You know, you can see those things happening. So of course, if you are bringing that in from an outside source, it's just going to stop. It may have been trying and dysfunctioning to begin with, or making too much to begin with. Now you've essentially told your body just to turn it off. And if you get off of that prescription, there's no like catalyst for it to turn back on. It's going to take a long time for it to realize that's not coming back in. Remember how to do that. If you haven't worked on foundational health, it's not going to be in the best place to actually figure out how to do that properly. Like you
Right.
can see how this kind of snowballs.
Right. It all comes back to, we keep saying this over and over. And we talked about this a couple of podcasts ago with the causes, the cure, but it all comes down to the root cause. You have to address the root cause of your internal metabolic dysfunction, but also what caused all that in the first place. And that you can turn all these things around. That's what it is when we talk about foundational health. But again, these are just magic fixes. Another thing that I've seen lately that are just magic fixes are all this kind of goes along with the weight loss stuff, but these beauty fixes. Like there's so many people that are actually young, like in their 30s, and they're getting Botox, which is also in bio, by the way.
And a poison. Even
Right?
when it was natural, it's a poison.
Yeah. I mean, it was a poison to begin with, and
I
then
mean,
that
it's like,
protein, now it's a synthetic
yeah,
version of the poison.
like it's a part, like a offshoot of like the botulism,
Right.
right? That's
Right. That's what it
it's
is. So
bad.
it was originally botulism, but then they started
Yeah.
this in bio. So now it's a genetically engineered version of botulism that paralyzes, you know. And
Yeah.
so people are still getting that, but they're now calling it natural. And then there's all these fillers that people are getting because they're natural. But if you really look it up, it's all that's in bio stuff
Right.
that they're injecting into themselves. And again, those are things that you have to keep up with maintenance because if you stop, you're going to shrink back up to,
Who knows what?
but literally beauty is an inside job. Like you have to
Yeah.
be healthy. If you are healthy, then you will age gracefully. And it's a difference between biological aging or chronological aging.
Yeah.
And these beauty fixes, there's so many of them now. It's not sustainable.
Right. Like you see all this stuff for hair. Like if you have thinning hair, you want to grow your hair, take this supplement, use this serum, and if you stop and think about it, we've talked about why you have hair loss, why you would have thinning hair. Something is going on. So you are again just doing a band-aid fix. Like most people, like if they're younger, they're probably not experiencing a lot of really acute symptoms. So they're just seeing these one or two things like really dry skin, bad acne, thinning hair. So they're then again getting inundated with all of this media about, do this quick fix. Just, take this really strong, crazy antibiotic and your skin will be great. Take these natural gummy supplements and your hair will be thick and long. You know,
That's another one right now.
Yeah.
Supplements, like with all the, well, I just forgot what the marijuana I was gonna say,
The
marijuana,
pot that the kids are doing.
the CBD, or all the different forms of that, because it's legal, but it's still a band-aid fix. It may
Right.
make you feel a little better, but again, what is happening underneath to cause this pain that you're now trying to cover up is still there. It's still growing.
And that we didn't even talk about that last week. I didn't even think about that with the SynBio,
Oh yeah,
with
that's bio.
with all of this, like when they call it the THC gummies, they are taking the plant, they are looking at that protein, they are recreating that strain in a
Right.
lab. Like it is, if you're going to use it recreationally or as a band-aid fix, it's really hard to source that, like to find that something that's actually come from an actual plant that's been organically grown, and then that you can buy. Almost all of that is laboratory. It's all science.
Right. Actually, if you look back at when the medical marijuana use became legal, that's when they could sell this SynBio, if you look back at it. Because just like we were talking about in the last podcast with the stevia plant, it's not a big money maker. You can't make
Right.
a lot of money off the stevia plant. Same with the marijuana plant. I mean, you probably make more, but you couldn't make the money like you can with the synthetic or genetically engineered plant, because now they have the patent now, just like we talked about in the last video. So yeah, that's a good one. We forgot to mention that, but now but that's another, just a fix. And then you hear people talking about all the time. Also, let's see. Oh, just today, right before we got on this podcast, I saw someone that's on my Facebook feed that was a product. So that's another one. Some of these products, these natural products, drives me crazy, like absolutely drives me crazy. Because again, they're a quick fix and people think it's like a miracle fix, and they spend hundreds and hundreds and thousands of dollars on these products,
Right.
for weight loss, for healing leaky gut, all these things. But no, you cannot heal your leaky gut without changing all the things you're doing that caused it in the first place. I mean, you just can't. But anyway, she shared, hopefully she's not watching this. But I mean, it just drove me crazy. They have as a product blankets that block viruses, funguses, mold, heavy metals, 5G, and parasites.
Block how?
Okay, let's just think about this. A blanket, they do have they have material that can block EMFs. Okay, so I can buy the 5G thing.
Right. And depending on the weave of a fabric, yes, anything in the air, it can trap. Are you,
Right.
do you like wear the blanket like a,
Well, that's what I was gonna say.
like
You
a
wear it over your
burqa?
head. You would have to wear it over your head, like down to the floor. But the thing with viruses and funguses and mold, heavy metals, parasites, that is an issue internally. So if your body is in balance, first of all, if your body is healthy and in balance, we all have parasites, we all have bacterias.
And we all have exposure to toxins,
Metals or
heavy
toxins.
metals, to mold, to
Right.
parasites. Like we are exposed to that all the time.
Right. And parasites and bacteria are a part of us. Like we kumbaya with these organisms.
Symbiotic, maybe.
Symbiotic. I like that. But I mean, if you're a healthy person, that's part of your microbiome.
Right.
When
And
you get
your
an overgrowth of bacteria or an overgrowth of parasites, it's because your body is out of balance and your body is acidic, and it now becomes a host to these things so
Right.
that grow in
I mean,
abundance.
you can be devil's advocate and you can say, like, what if I have an extreme black mold infestation in my house? And then yes, okay. So sometimes there's going to be so much that your natural detox maybe needs some support. But this is not like an everyday occurrence. This is not something you need a blanket to wear 24/7 to deal with.
If you have black mold issue in your house, that is a problem.
Yeah.
And you're going to have to move out and remediate that problem. But your blanket's not going to help.
No.
And with heavy metals, we come in contact with them. So how do you not? That you have to come in contact with them. They're everywhere. But you can minimize your contact with your consumer choices. And if your
Yes.
body is healthy and in balance, your detoxification methods are working to then
Right.
remove heavy metals. Your blanket is not going to help with that.
No, and there are natural ways to assist that natural detoxification system without, pills or 21-day supplements or anything. Like, you can naturally improve the way those systems work if you're really feeling like you've got a higher exposure to things, and we've talked about that. Like the last challenge we did, we went into our whole document on natural detox assistance and things
Right.
you can do to improve that, but none of them were a blanket.
No, and even the natural detox assistance that we always recommend, that's assisting. That's
Yeah.
like the supplementing of the supplements. You still have to do all the right things so that your
Yes.
body is functioning properly, and you have to minimize your exposure coming in. So that those detox assistants are just simply to assist your body and to help. Yes. And so the other thing, yeah, the blanket that just but the
I'm
crazy
gonna have
thing
to
is
Google
that,
it.
yeah, I don't even know what the blanket was. It didn't say. But the crazy thing was, this is what gets me. And this is the point of our podcast. Everyone wants a quick fix. Everyone wants change without changing. And so the comments on her post, people are like, me, one, because she said she had 57 of them. I bet she sold out today. But the thing is, people just buy into whatever that sounds easy peasy, but it just doesn't work that way.
No. And the thing is that if you do buy into those, you're spending all your time and energy and money on these little quick fixes that don't work. You might feel better for a little bit. There's a lot to your brain. Psychosomatic
Right.
improvements are real. But you're never ever going to get to the point where you create a real solution because you're so invested in all of these little quick fixes. And imagine over time how much money, how much time you spend, put that all together, and you don't get the results when you could just jump in, do the hard work, spend the time and money for 3 months, 6 months, and make that change, and you actually get the results. Sometimes people look at programs like with a functional medicine doctor, or like with our Take Your Health Back Now system and our Body Burden Boot Camp. They're like, wow, that's a lot of work and a pretty large fee for me in all at once. But they don't think about like adding everything up over time that they've already done or they're going to go out there and do that gets them nothing. So how is the value less? Like the value of a program that works is so much higher than something that's not going to work, even if the cost, is different.
Yeah. And you have to think long term. Like, you always have to think long term.
Yeah.
So the cost of something, something like what we do, that's that in the moment cost. But then if you continue on this path,
Right.
have any costs for the rest of your life, unless you have something like a car accident or you break your leg or something like that. But as far as these chronic health conditions, you won't have those costs. And they're expensive, even if you have insurance. I can't believe how much people pay on testing. Like, they go from the specialist to the specialist to the specialist, and they're getting testing from all the places trying to find out what's going on. But even if they have insurance, the out-of-pocket expenses, and then out-of-pocket expenses for these quick fix pharmaceuticals that we were talking about in the beginning, it's crazy. I mean, that's one of the biggest causes of bankruptcy.
Yeah.
Oh, here's another thing I was going to say at the very beginning. as far as the pharmaceutical commercials that you were
Yeah.
talking about, we are the only country in the world.
Yeah.
Think about that. We are the only country in the world that allows pharmaceutical companies to have commercials to the
It
public.
doesn't make sense. Like if you're saying that you can't, advertise smoking to children
Right,
because they're not 18 or legally allowed to buy it, then why can you advertise a prescription drug to someone who can't legally prescribe it? Like if you don't have the training or ability, why are they advertising it to you? Like if there was maybe like a doctors only network, I don't know, go ahead and market it there. But that's not how it works. They're asking you to take this information, go to your doctor, and tell them that that's what you need. So,
right,
why do you trust your doctor? Why do you need a doctor? Apparently, we're all smart enough to just watch TV and fix ourselves. No,
right.
that's not true. These things are very dangerous and they can't just be purchased off the shelf. So, why are they marketed to the public?
Right. It's crazy. Another thing is this, so many coaches and practitioners are talking about, I think we talked about this before, but it drives me crazy. I still keep hearing it about parasite cleanses
Right.
and D21 detoxes. And now I'm hearing a lot of people talking about how cancer is caused by parasites. So you have to take parasitic medications. Okay. But again, even if it was,
Right.
cancer grows in an acidic environment in your body.
Right.
Cancer loves to eat sugar.
Like
Parasites thrive in an acidic environment.
exactly.
It's
That's what I was
also
gonna say.
like sugar.
Like
So,
you could almost insert anything in
right,
there with cancer or parasites. Like that's the environment that disease and dysfunction overall needs.
right. And if you are healthy and you are doing all the right things to maintain your health, you do not have an acidic environment in your body.
Right.
You don't. To stay alive, you have to have between 7 and 7.5 pH. And if you are in homeostasis, you're not acidic. So
Mhm.
you're only acidic if you are unhealthy and unwell. And that's where those things thrive. So these parasite cleanses are crazy. And again, if you're taking a parasite cleanse, like I said, some parasites are part of our microbiome. So then now you're killing all of these off, which is causing an imbalance. Also, though, to think about, and same with these 21 detoxes, if you just dump something in that you're dumping, you're detoxing. If you have leaky gut, which the majority of people do, if you have symptoms, you have leaky gut. So if you have leaky gut, you're dumping all of these toxins, you're dumping these parasites, which are also toxins as they die off, and they're going out into your blood because you have the leaky gut, you have these, holes in your gut essentially back into your blood system where they shouldn't be.
Yeah.
It can be very, very, it's poison. That's what it is. It's poison to your body.
You are detox. That tox means toxins. You are getting toxins, killing them or clearing them. But if your body is not healthy, it's not going to be able to clear them in an appropriate manner.
right,
And even if it was healthy, if you try to do that all at once, it's going to be overwhelming. Some of that's going to stay.
right. And, on a side note with the weight loss, everybody wants to lose weight. First of all, if you lose weight, if you are thin, it does not mean you're healthy. Thin does not equal health. Overweight clearly does not equal health either.
Right, but
But
eat less and exercise more is not the magic key to weight loss for everyone. There are other reasons why you might be holding on to weight.
right. Yeah. So oxygens, that's when your body, you have too many toxins in your body. So if you're doing these detox, 21 detox, okay. So then now body has dumped all these toxins. They're going back into your blood. Your body has to do something with them. So they're going to store them in your fat cells.
Yep.
So the reason you can't lose weight a lot of the times right now, and part of this obesity epidemic, is because your body has to, again, to keep you alive, stores these toxins different places in your body, and then your fat cells hold on to them.
Yeah.
Don't want to release them. And that's why you can't lose the weight. So you have to, again, get healthy at a foundational level where your body can finally go, okay, it's safe for me to start letting go of these.
Right.
So again, you can't just lose weight quickly. I see people in 4 weeks, I lost 900 pounds. I mean,
By eating this one fat burn gummy every morning.
then they show a picture of when they were really fat. And then the next month they show a picture of when they've lost all these weight. That is not sustainable. That is not healthy. That is not sustainable. Again, quick fix, not going to do it for you.
No.
Even I've heard a lot about med beds right now. Well, the people that have had the shot or people that are so sick right now, these med beds are coming. Everybody keeps talking about these med beds are coming to save the world. Okay. Whether they are or not, the point is you cannot keep doing all the wrong things and then jump in the magic med bed and have it fix you. You still have to change what you were doing in the first place. Right. I mean, it's such a simple concept when you come down to it, but just as human beings, we're so designed to want the quick fix.
Yeah.
Want the easy solution. Don't want to change your life, but you want that, whatever it is you're striving, you want the symptoms to go away. You want to feel.
And then you add in all that marketing on top of it that's telling you that you can do it that way.
Right. And that's another thing. There's so many products right now. Another thing to just gets me angry. I always like to come from a love and light, but it gets my goat. These products right now that are natural and they're so wonderful, and they have a quick fix for everything. I saw there's one in particular the other day, I guess Adderall or drugs like that for people with ADHD, kids especially, it's getting hard to come by, so people are freaking out, and so they're like, oh well, our product is going to like totally take off because it takes the place of that, but it's natural. Okay, well, it might be natural. First of all, I've looked into it and some of it's a synbio, but it does have natural components as herbs and things. But again, how about we address what caused the ADHD symptoms in the first place? Because you can totally resolve that. You can turn it around. I've seen it a million times.
And some of those things that they call ADHD symptoms aren't anything wrong with you. It's just something that they've said is abnormal. So instead of incorporating it into your lifestyle and, being healthy overall with your particular brain, they're saying, well, let's just drug it so that everyone is, quiet and calm and sheeple.
Right. And a lot of that for a lot of kids, especially, and we see this all the time in adults too. OCD, weird little, where people like hit their fingernails, or even biting fingernails is actually a symptom, but it's it's all those little nervous habits, different ways that people express, their symptoms express. But I mean, a lot of it is the food, all of the additives and different things in the food. A lot of it in other people is from people are just in, sympathetic dominant, and they are always in fight or flight, and they're feeling anxious, and they're real, nervous and on edge all the time and things like that. So, and all of that is an easy fix. It's those crazy additives in our food, or if you're sympathetic dominant, it's mostly a gut related issue. So all of those things can be resolved and turned around, and it's a terrible way to live, people that have these symptoms. But again, whether it's Adderall or whether it's this magic natural brand helping calm, like ashwagandha is a herb, and it can take that just that kind of skim that anxious top off for people. But again, and it's an herb. Okay, it is. It's an herb. It came from a plant, but it is still a band-aid fix. So it is
Right.
still not resolving any symptom for you. It might make you feel better in the moment, but
Mhm.
again, it all comes back to you've got to look at that root cause, many causes, and fix that. And you can. And it's not really that hard. It's just that you have to embrace the fact that you can, change this and
Yeah,
turn it
there's
around.
a difference between something being hard and impossible and something being uncomfortable. Like
Right.
it will be uncomfortable to make big lifestyle changes. It will be because your comfort zone is where you've been that's been causing all these problems or allowing these problems to be there. So you
Right.
will experience some discomfort until this new healthy lifestyle that prevents dysfunction and disease becomes your new comfort zone. And then you'll be comfortable with it because you'll understand it and it will, come to you. But when you're learning something new, when you're making big changes, you're going to have discomfort, you're going to have growth, you're going to have change, and that's okay. And that's a lot of people see that as a bad thing. Like we're taught that things should feel good. Like if we're getting fixed, we should immediately feel good about it. It shouldn't be uncomfortable, it shouldn't be hard, Well, there is a process to it, and you have to really embrace that. And that's why mindset, we say, is always that first area to focus on, because you have to be able to roll with that change and then get to a new comfort zone.
Right. There is no change without discomfort.
Right.
And if you stay in the comfort zone, like Jenny said, you will never have change. And this goes in any area of your life,
Yeah.
like any area of your life, big or small, you have to go through that discomfort to get there. But yeah, it's the perspective. So are you going to say, this is too hard, I can't do this, I can't change, this is awful, all of those, you have that perspective?
Right.
Because if that's your perspective, you're right, that's exactly what it's going to be. Or are you going to embrace it and say, yes, this is going to be uncomfortable, but I'm so excited, I'm going to actually take control of my
Right.
own or my own life, I'm going to feel great, I can't even imagine the things I'm going to do, I cannot wait to do this, I am so excited, I understand this is going to be hard, but I can't wait, you're going to have that perspective, because
Yes.
then you're right, that's exactly what it's going to be like. So
And
like
it
Jenny said,
always
always start with that.
amazes me that, like, once people are adults, it's really hard for them to embrace this. But if you are, if you remember when you were a kid, or if you are a parent, it's, you wouldn't bat an eye telling a child, like, oh, you want to get on the baseball team, but you aren't very good at baseball and you need to put in extra effort and it's going to be hard and you might not make the team the first time and you can be sad, but we'll help you grow if you really want to do it. Let's put in that effort. And
Right.
you don't expect them to be super happy all the time. If they're struggling with math, you sit down and you work with them, but you don't tell them, like, just get over it. Or, you know what, that's really hard. Let's just stop and stay at third grade math. That's cool. Like, but once we're adults, that's what we do. We're like, oh, this is where I'm at and I like this. I want that, but it's kind of hard. So I shouldn't do it. I mean,
Right. So I'm going to take this pill instead.
all right.
I mean, that's basically, I mean, that is, we've kind of been on a rant this whole time, but really, it is. I hope that you got a lot from this.
Yeah.
But the point is that this space is just, there is so much,
Yeah.
so much. You got this person over here. Oh, how about that lady? We won't say what she was, but when we were at the Health Freedom Expo a couple of years ago,
Oh, yes.
and
I
there
know
was
what
a
you're talking
coach across from us, and she was a keto coach. That was her thing. She was keto.
Yeah.
Um, so, but
And she had made a transformation where she was very
yes,
overweight and then had very large pictures of her transformation, and even had like a reproduction of the fat that she had lost, which really drew people in, oddly, even though it was
And everybody
gross.
wanted to feel it.
Yeah.
But and
So
she
yeah,
but that did not mean she was healthy or selling health,
not at all. Not at all.
because what she was doing, she was selling weight loss
Yeah.
and showing her transformation. And she had so many people that were clamoring to work with her. But we watched her for 2 days.
Yeah, our booth was like aimed at her booth.
Right. We couldn't help but watch her like we were facing her. But she sat over there and she drank Diet Coke the whole time. She was eating like different
Packaged, processed.
packaged processed food. That's all she ate the whole time.
Yeah.
That is not health. Like
No.
you cannot ingest those things and be healthy.
No, that is not a nutritionally sound way to live. And it may make you look aesthetically pleasing based on what currently is popular, you know, but it doesn't mean you're going to feel good. It doesn't mean that long term you are going to have health, because you are missing like key things. It's
Right.
going to cause other dysfunction. But yeah, you can say in the moment, like, look, I did this change that was semi difficult, and now I look great. You know, it's kind of like the medium. It's not the magic, you know, fat loss gummy you take once a day. You do have to make some lifestyle change, but it's not a solution.
Right. So the magic pills come in all kinds.
Yeah.
If you truly want health and healing and to maintain this for a lifetime, and biological aging, where you're like literally almost aging in reverse,
Right.
all of that comes from your internal environment, you know.
Yes.
So I think that's all of our rant today. There's probably a
Yes.
million other ones that we could go over.
If we
But
start anything else, we might end up going for 2 hours. So we probably should.
you get our point.
Yeah.
And if you are watching any commercials, you're watching any social media, you're listening to any practitioners or coaches,
The
there's
radio.
much of that out there. But just know, if it sounds too good to be true, it probably is.
Yeah.
If it looks like a duck and walks like a duck, it probably is a duck.
Right. And if it only focuses on one area, it's not going to give you overall health. Remember that too. So even if you're going a little bit beyond the magic bullet quick fixes, remember that even when you commit and make change, if you only do it in one area of your life or your health, those other areas are going to fester and, you know, come back into that area you put work in. So you really do need to look at everything as a integrated foundation of health, not a standalone piece or part or issue. You know, you got to do it all.
Right. And one other little side note, that it's not really a magic bullet, but it's such a big piece of this right now, I think, is testing.
Yeah.
And you know, everybody thinks they have to have testing, and that goes as far as conventional side of things. You know, you run, all the specialists run all these tests trying to figure out, you know, what is wrong with you, to label it, right? And then you have all of this genetic testing. Everybody's doing genetic testing to see if they're genetically predisposed to something, so that, you know, then there's the quick fix for that. And then you have like the natural side of things, like functional medicine or other natural practitioners that test, don't guess. So we're running tests first, and everybody thinks they have to have these tests, but literally, if you get these tests, you get this information, and that doesn't, and I'm talking about the conventional stuff, the genetic testing, the functional testing. You now have all this information.
Right.
How does that help you? Like literally, how
It
does that
doesn't give
help
you action steps.
No, it doesn't
No.
help you unless somebody gives you a roadmap to say, okay, well, here's what you need to do. And usually they don't. Usually it's, you're deficient in this, you're deficient in this. You know, take these supplements, take this pill, you need this surgery.
Right.
So still, it's still not helping you. You really don't need the testing.
Yeah, the data the testing gives you does not create a solution. It just creates a little bit more knowledge. And that knowledge is basically going to be your body's out of balance. You have no gut health and you need to make lifestyle changes. That's what it's going to tell you. You know, if you're doing it in conventional medicine, they're going to give you the magic bullet pills, or they're going to say your thyroid's not working, so we'll just get rid of it.
Right.
If you're working more on the natural side of things, they'll say, well, let's take this supplement, or let's look at this one symptom because of this issue. And you're still not creating overall health, right? So that's why with our programs, and I'm sure there's a few others out there, but we are obviously a little bit biased on ours. That's what we do. Like, we look at all of that. It's a lot of work in a short amount of time, but it gets an amazing outcome. And that value of foundational health and empowerment, where you understand why you're doing things, how to keep it going. You are in control of your own health lifelong. That's really the only way to have a true solution.
Mhm. And you can get testing, like we do offer testing, but we always recommend you do the program first, because very, very rarely have we ever had somebody after they did the work and saw the results ever want the testing.
Right.
Don't need the testing. Like in our case, and like Jenny said, I'm sure there's other people out there, but not that many really
No.
that come from our angle. But our whole system was based on test results. So, you don't need the testing. We built this on other people's testing, and everybody has the same issues going on. So, but that's a whole nother topic.
It really is.
Really, I just wanted to mention that about the test, because the test, it may be validating for you, because it is, when you've got these chronic conditions going on and these symptoms, and you are so overwhelmed and you don't know, just to have that validation that yes, there's something wrong with you. It makes you feel so much better. Like you almost don't even care what they tell you, just because it's not all in your head, because so many people have these chronic issues start to think they're crazy and have told they're crazy, and it's all in your head. So yes, I get that the tests it is validating for you, but it's not going to help you overcome this, is my point. So anyway, hopefully this was helpful for you guys today. We talked about our last podcast a lot, so definitely if you didn't catch it, go back and listen. That's a really big one for people. Like everybody needs that information.
And if you're not currently in the Facebook group, remember that if you join our private Facebook group, you can watch us do these live like we're doing right now. You can always catch the recording. We put them out the next week on all the platforms, but if you're in the private Facebook group, you get access to watching us do these live, and you can pop in with questions, or sometimes we get little smiley faces and heart emojis. That's always nice.
We always like that. but I mean, we welcome questions. So if you're able to catch the lives, it's always good, because you can, pick our brain in the moment. But yes, hopefully this helps. If it doesn't help you, share with other people, because it will help someone, because everybody's having these issues right now. But don't fall for those quick, easy fixes. They're not going to do anything for you.
No, waste of time, effort, and money.
Yep.
All
so
right.
have a good day, everybody.
Bye.